Okay, it says I'm live. It says waiting. Waiting for what? Waiting for set. I'm like, I don't know if it's waiting, so I never know if it's actually started or not. So I'm, hesitant to just start talking because then, if I'm waiting, are you waiting? I never know. Sorry, parched. Whew, thundery, rainy today, super rainy, floody, all that stuff. I had a complete downpour. I had to stop. It was raining so hard I couldn't even drive. Who knew? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And look, tomorrow, Chicago, episode 7. As far as I know, unless something happens between now and then that I'm unaware of, it'll be our first of the last 3 episodes of Chicago. So number 7. Day tripping, me alongside Stephen He. We were talking last night about IMDb. I don't see the IMDb credits for YouTube, so I don't know if that happens or not. But we got on the rabbit hole of a very crap. Now I forget what it is. Anyway, the movie that I did. Is it that time again? It is. Hi, Todd. A very country musical, and I'm not in it. I mean, I'm in it. I'm the bouncer, but I'm not there. You don't see me in any of the credits for the whole thing. So I'm like, well, that's just crappy. So I went into my IMDb account today because I actually have one because I did get credit for doing something else that was at the radio station. So I went ahead and added my name to the credit. We'll see if they accept it and put it in as full credits and give me that. And then I'm going to figure out if Day Trippin' can get IMDb credits as well. And if it can, I'm going to absolutely put myself in as the co-star. I mean, right? It said I was the co-star. Just saying. I mean, why not, right? That's what I'm going to do. But that's neither here nor there. So I did have to sign it to IMDb, and I did it. But I guess I have an actual account. Because I was in it with, I forget who I was in now. But he was in Foghat. And I forget what it was for. It was for some movie that I got thanks in or credits for or something. Anyway, that was one of those things. So yes, my IMDb credit. Don sent me screenshots so you can see when I'm being the bouncer in the movie. He watched it, of course. He said his wife loved those things. So you can see the outside of the bar, the bouncer. You can see the marquee. And I'll have to watch it again. I didn't watch it last night. But there's lots of times that I can pick out and be like, oh, that's the radio station, that's the radio station, that's the radio station. So a very country musical Christmas something. Again, I forget what the hell it's actually called. What do you want from me? Okay, it was yesterday. A lot happens in a day in my life. Let's see, birthdays today. We'll start with birthdays today. Stuart Copeland of the Police. Today is his birthday. So happy birthday to Stuart Copeland of the Police. Sting, on the other hand, I met his daughter. His daughter played at the bar, which was really interesting. She was very, she was in the movie, she played a heroin addict, I think a heroin addict, in that, I forget already what movie it is now. But she came to the bar and she played and she performed. She sounded just like Sting. If you closed your eyes and you listened, it was creepy. I'm like, oh my God, it sounds just like him. She was really nice, but she didn't smile. She wasn't smiley at all, but she was really, really nice. We hung out for a while and just talked. Didn't talk about her dad, talked about her. But she was really cool, actually. It was really fun. But that has nothing to do with anything. That was just because of Stuart Copeland. Michael Flatterly of Riverdance. He's from Chicago. So what is this, all this Irish crap? He's not really Irish from Ireland. He's from Chicago. So, I mean, just, Phoebe Cates, her birthday today. Everyone knows Phoebe from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, I believe is what the movie was. Will Ferrell's birthday is today. Good old Will Ferrell and all the silly movies he was in. What did I see recently? He was in a documentary where his friend came out and in transition as transgender. And it was really wild. It was this cross-country trip and did not go well in Texas. Not going to lie. He did not go over well in Texas. The comments that they kind of showed were brutal. It was very interesting. It was an interesting thing that he did. Interesting documentary for sure. And Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman, his birthday today too. No. Let's see. Who died today? Harry Chapin died today. And George Romero. Remember George Romero? Dawn of the Dead. I have very fond memories of Dawn of the Dead because that was like the drive-in movie theater time when I was like, in that era of watching drive-in movies. It was kind of wild. Hey there, movie star. Thank you so much. No, who is Phoebe Cates married to? I don't know. I didn't Google her. Sorry, I didn't look up Phoebe Cates. Not me, not you. So does that really matter then? Oh, Kevin Kline. Okay, fair enough. We talked about Kevin Kline last night. Pirates of Penzance with Linda Ronstadt when it was her birthday yesterday. There you go. There's that 6 degrees of separation. Okay, today was what? Today was National Hot Dog Day. Woo! I did celebrate. Look, hot dogs. I've had them. I made a couple hot dogs for myself. Told you I was going to have hot dogs. And see, I put everything on it. All right. See, look at this. I mean, it's got everything. It's got relish, ketchup, mustard, cheese. So yes, I did have a couple of hot dogs because I was like, come on, hot dog day? I am definitely not going to miss on National Hot Dog Day. So I totally had some hot dogs. And they were delicious. They were so good. I was very excited about them. I even put them on like split top buns because what the hell if I'm going to make them? I mean, I grilled them. I even like put them in a frying pan and didn't microwave them. Normally I just nuke them for 30 seconds and it's warm meat that you eat. But no. I actually wanted the grill flavor, so it had a little bit of crisp and burn to it. But yeah, so National Hot Dog Day. Also National Snake Day. I saw a snake. I was very happy to. I was looking outside. I think I found a rabbit nest in the neighbor's yard because there was a little hole dug with a little stuff, and I saw the bunny near it. But I was kind of walking past it, and I was in the back part of the yard, and I was like, wait, what's that? And there it was. I thought it was a little worm at first, but no, it was Mr. Snake. I was like, sweet. He was cool. He was little. He did a little teeny one, actually. Very light-colored garden snake. But he was definitely a garter snake. He had all those little, gardery snake patterns. But yeah, I was like, get out of the way here. There's birds. Someone's going to make you a snack. Think you're a giant worm. Mr. Snake. National Cherry Day. National Guinea Pig Appreciation Day. National Personal Chef Day, which again, I was like, I am my personal chef and I made hot dogs. See? Hot dogs. Personal chef myself right there. That's what I did. I personal chefed. And then it is AI Day. Dun, dun, dun. AI. It was interesting. So reading, I went and I read the summary again of AI 2027. It's an interesting read. 5 guys that are really smart AI guys wrote this thing. But already the conclusions are wrong in some ways because it talked about how China is going to be behind us in AI because they have the lack of electricity and computing power. And we just kind of changed that whole scenario and that dynamic. So it's interesting. But it's definitely, it talks about agents and a bunch of other stuff. It's about a 90-minute listen. You can listen to it. So if you're interested, it's AI 2027, AI 2027. These 5 guys wrote it. It's just interesting. It's sort of an interesting scenario. It's definitely the end of the world scenario, just so you know. It's doom and gloom. They go month by month of, where we're at right now in, July of 2025. Here's where we're at. And here's where it's progressing to, and this. And it's kind of interesting, to say the very least. Definitely not for the faint of heart. If you get like, no, I'm going to die. But, that's it's always something, right? Isn't it going to be something? It's just another distraction. Keep us occupied, work. Right. What else is there? I don't even know anymore. It's just work. It just blends in. Okay. All right. So tomorrow is National Tattoo Day. Now this one was a weird one. No, it's Peach Ice Cream Day, and then it's Yellow Pig Day. Now I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to go see what the heck National Yellow Pig Day is. This started in the 70s with 2 dudes from Princeton. I guess they were math guys and they had a math problem. Don't ask me how the yellow pig falls into it. I kind of read it and I still couldn't figure it out. But they started with basically the prime numbers of 2, 3, 5, and 7 when added together equals 17, which is, a prime number as well because it's not divisible by itself, only divisible by itself in 1, as are the other ones, 2, 3, 5, 7. But it's sort of just this random math thing about 17. And it's sort of celebrating 17 on, of course, the 17th of July. Now, a couple of things. I guess 17 is bad luck in Italy. Like we consider 13 bad because it is VI or it's XVII. Okay. That's 17 in Roman numerals. And as an anagram, it's VIXI, which means my life is over. So I guess they consider it bad luck, 17, because of my life is over, which I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. But otherwise, Yellow Pig Day, which again, it's like one of the longer ones when I find all these stupid national days. Like, it started in 2024, it started in 2019. I'm like, okay, all these people are just adding crap. But this was around since like the 70s. So just, I'll have to read more about it for tomorrow's explanation. But yes, National Yellow Pig Day. So if you're so inclined, you can Google it and you'll see what I mean. It's just kind of left field in it. I didn't really understand it. All right, so today in history. Now, these are coming, again, I just kind of dig through these things and find the ones that I think are interesting to try and just kind of fall into. So in 1439, kissing was banned in London. And the reason they did that was to try and stop the spread of the Black Death. I mean, okay. Just another plague happening in London in 1439. And then 1790, the U.S. Congress unanimously approved that Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, would be the permanent home of the capital of the United States. So that happened in 1790. In 1900 was the first incident of fake news. A London reporter reported that all the tourists had been killed in Peking, China. It was, of course, debunked as false, but it was basically saying that they did it to draw attention to something. So it was complete fake news. So that was sort of like the first incident of fake news in 1900. So it's been around for a minute. It's not like it's, not real. It does happen. We just seem to be dealing with more of it every damn day. 1945. So this would be, which again, I saw that there was on this date in 1987, Great Britain tested a nuclear bomb in Nevada. I was like, what the hell? It's like, now we're giving other countries, just making sure it works, showing you we got one. But anyway, today, July 17th, was the first test of the atomic bomb, the Trinity experiment, the one you saw in Oppenheimer. That was today. That's when it really happened, when we really detonated the first nuclear weapon above the atmosphere here in the United States, in the Trinity in New Mexico. And so it began. I think as Oppie said, I am the destroyer of worlds. Right. In 1951, Catcher in the Rye was released by J.D. Salinger. Now, I had a friend, and this is real, okay? I don't know. Did any of you guys have someone this? My friend Bill, I'm not going to say his last name, Ficourt, carried a Catcher in the Rye in his pocket all the time. And we were always like, you are such a poser. You carry this around to like what? So you're sophisticated or like deep in thought, or what is this? So he had a beat up copy of Catcher in the Rye and he carried it forever. It was with him forever. I haven't seen Bill for years, but every time we'll like, connect or talk to him, like, hey, you got a Catcher in the Rye in your pocket? Because it was just one of these weird things that, like, dude, why do you carry this? Pick up chicks? I mean, what is it? You look sophisticated, like. Yes, this is Catcher in the Rye. I found that very amusing. It was just one of those things that it tickled me as funny. 1957, John Glenn, which I was trying to find a picture. I actually met John Glenn. Set the transcontinental speed record. It was like 3 hours and 42 minutes or something. But yes, I met John Glenn. When I had the opportunity to meet him, I was like, hell's yes, I want to meet John Glenn. I was like, talk about someone that's actually worthy of, someone that's worthy of a little bit of hero worship. I mean, yeah. He definitely looked like an alien. I'm not going to lie. He definitely looked like an alien because I met him when he was, older. He even looked like when he was younger, but yeah, he was an interesting guy. We only talked for a couple minutes, but, it was very nice. I just asked him, like, what is it like to go fast, as fast as you did? And he's like, I just loved going fast. I always wanted to go fast. I was like, okay, I guess so. You did that. You did that fast thing. But yeah, he dug going fast, and it was just just a very brief conversation. We just talked a little bit, but he was an interesting guy. Just for those few minutes I got to talk to him, it was very nice. He was very, very generous with his time. It wasn't like, okay, I got to go. I was more. I didn't want to be rude, so I excused myself. Actually, I didn't want to monopolize his time. I think he was leaving a restaurant or something. I definitely accosted him. It wasn't like, hey, so let's meet John Glenn. It was like, no, I think we're walking out of a restaurant or into a restaurant. And it's just like, oh my God, you're John Glenn. Like, let me stop you. I mean, I probably wouldn't, I wouldn't do that. Oh, that's not true. I actually do it a lot. I've done that before too. Yeah, I guess I would because there's a couple other people I've done that too. It's nice to think that you wouldn't be like that, but apparently you are. Who knew? 1967, this one I found hilarious. Okay. The Monkees, the band The Monkees, played in Forest Hill Tennis Stadium in New York. The opening act was Jimi Hendrix. So Jimi Hendrix opened for the Monkees in Forest Hill Tennis Stadium in New York. Okay, interesting selection there. Whoever put that together, psychedelic Jimi Hendrix in front of the pop stars, Beatle wannabe Monkees. I mean, interesting to say the least. Also that year, on this date, The Who started their first U.S. tour out in California and then toured across the country. The Who were interesting. I saw them a couple of times. My favorite story was seeing The Who at Shea Stadium. Shea Stadium in New York City. Now, when I saw them, I think it was in the 80s. I don't remember the exact year. Maybe it was 81 or 3. I'd have to look. Now, Shea Stadium was in the middle of freaking nowhere. Okay, you basically had to take a train to get to it, and it was literally like nowhere. There was no other stops away. So everybody on the train was going to Shea Stadium because you either drove out until Long Island and got there, or Staten Island or whatever it was, Long Island, or you took the train. The thing was, and I don't remember this as ever happening at any other concert, Shea Stadium let you bring in coolers, and they didn't check them. So we dragged coolers into the concert to see The Who. And, we were not of the age of 21 at the moment, and we dragged coolers in that had adult beverages in it, and it was just a complete shit show. But yes, Shea Stadium to see The Who with beverages. I just remember it was just a wreck. It was just a mess, just an absolute mess. The train coming back was just a disaster. We used to take the train to the city all the time when I was growing up, all the time. We were feral children, as they would be called today. We'd leave in the morning, be like, okay, Mom, we're gonna go ride bikes. We'd ride bikes to the train station, get in the train, pay the $5, and go into the city. And we'd be at Washington Square Park, 42nd Street, walking around the Lower East Side, just, hanging out in the city all day. Going to the bodegas, getting a beer, hanging out in the Irish pubs. It didn't matter. Did whatever the hell we wanted to do. We were kids. No one looked at you sideways in New York City. You just did whatever. but we usually went in groups, groups, a gang of us, like 8 to 10 people. And we'd go to concerts all the time at night. And this was way pre-cell phone. So you would take the train into the city to go see a show at like Madison Square Garden, because it would literally take you right to Penn Station. So Madison Square Garden's above it. So, it was one stop. We'd get on the train and then, get on Broadway and take it right into Penn Station. You just didn't get off at any of their stops. And on the way in, we would try and, if you had to buy tickets, because you didn't have to buy them beforehand, you could get onto the train and buy them from the conductor. It cost a couple pennies more. But as we did, you would walk and go from car to car, and then you could kind of avoid the conductor. But on the way home, because it was nothing but kids, the conductors didn't even bother to charge us. So rarely do we even pay to ride the train back, just because it was packed with kids and they just don't want to deal with it. The conductor would kind of be like, no, this doesn't want to deal with it. Because it would be, a 50-car train, and there's, 50 kids per car. So, there's 1,000 kids or so on these train cars headed back, through New Jersey, getting up at the various stops along the way. So the train was one of those things that, we grew up using and taking. But yeah, the Shea Stadium trip, when the adventure to see the Who, was just, I always remember, it was just a wreck, because we had to transfer, in New York somewhere. And the thing is, the train stopped running. And I think this might be one of the very first incidents that happened. But the trains would stop running at a certain time, like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then they don't start again until 4 o'clock in the morning. And if you miss that last train, that's it. You're stuck. So we would get stuck in New York City. And this was pre-cell phone. So we're not like, hey, we'll be home later. It was just like, our parents just didn't know where we were. We just didn't come home that night, And we'd get home in the morning. We'd get on the first train we could to get home, or, we'd have to call them on a payphone. Or we'd just say, we're going to be at a concert. We'll try and make it home tonight. And be like, okay. And sometimes we didn't. We'd literally get stuck in the city. We'd kind of hang around close by to Madison Square Garden, because you don't want to go too far. The cops would roust us and kick us off the steps of the post office and whatever else. Or you'd go to one of the Irish pubs until they kick you out at like 3 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, that was the Shea Stadium adventure was one of those epic things. I'll have to ask my friend Fred, who went with me. I remember Fred was there. Who else went? Because I don't remember. But there was a group of us. It was probably the group that went to a lot of stuff. But yeah, Shea Stadium, the Who, crazy. 1969, Apollo 11 launches. We talked about this the other day because Bowie released Rocket Man like 8 days before today. So, 1994, comet Shoemaker-Levy hits Jupiter. Remember that? That comet was crashing into Jupiter for, a few days. There's, a comet is this giant thing. It looked like nothing hitting Jupiter. And they said had that same thing hit us, there wouldn't be anything left of the planet because it would be so much of an impact. And it just was like, boop, these little like white splashes hitting Jupiter. I remember that. That was funny. 1999. Remember this one? JFK Jr. crashes his plane. Flying. He was not instrument rated. He was only visually rated. I believe he flew when it was dark or something from Martha's Vineyard. I didn't bother to go back and look, but yeah, that we always thought like, what would that? Because it was with his wife and his sister or something, sister's wife or whatever. I was like, yeah, that those last few seconds would probably just horrifying. The screaming as you're inverted upside down because he didn't know which way he was, because he wasn't instrument rated to know the little bubble that he rolled it, because they said it went like that was the end of that. I don't think he'll be reappearing as a lot of conspiracy people think that he'll be back, and I don't think so. I think they found him in what's left of the plane. But that was today. Jurassic Park 3 was released today in 2001. Damn it. Again. Whoop, I got to switch cameras so it doesn't look like it's black still. But yes, I screwed up again. I'm telling you, I need to get that fixed. I can't figure it out. I cannot figure out how to make this camera not do that. And I did try and switch them, and for some reason I have to change the lenses and do everything else. So I'm just gonna have to do it. I will do it after the show. Maybe not after the show tonight because I have to get up early tomorrow and deal with the Jazz and Rib Festival, ladies and gentlemen. 2004, Martha Stewart spent 150 days in jail. I believe they said it was for lying. It wasn't for tax evasion or something else. It was lying. Martha. But I think it was for tax evasion. She just lied about her stocks or something. You know, that happens, Martha. And then 2012, The Dark Knight Rises was released. And that was Christopher Bale. Loved him in American Psycho. I actually used a American Psycho gift today because someone texted about, make sure you bring your rain gear to Jazz and Rim Fest. And I sent the Christopher Bale gift where he's like dancing in that clear rain suit before he went on the murder spree in American Psycho. Yes, that's you have to appreciate that. That was a good movie. A little bit off, a little weird, but that's I think kind of the purpose of it. Otherwise, it would have been not weird, right? I mean, it is American Psycho. Tomorrow is this. Don't forget, tomorrow I'll be watching from the Jazz and Rib Festival. It looks like my hours tomorrow are 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. So I should make it back in time to do my prep work, get showered, and do the show. But then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is where it's going to get dicey because the event goes till 10, but I don't know if I get out of there at 10. So I may have to jet back, and I don't have a car, so I'll have to Uber it or take a scooter. So I don't know. I will try and set the schedule for 11, but I'm not sure what'll happen for Friday, Saturday, Sunday yet. Try my best. I am going to take like I said, I will take the GoPro and I'll do some filming tomorrow. I wanted to do some filming today, but I just did not get the chance to. I did too much running around. It was just one of those days because it got away from me quickly. I went to go get stuff out Fiery Foods Festival. That's why. The Fiery Foods Festival, which I did not pull up the info. Sorry. I'll get it for tomorrow. But we're going to have fiery eating contests. There's going to be pizza, tacos, and wings. So if you want to get a trophy, which I ordered today, they're going to be kind of cool trophies, like 2-foot tall trophies with hot peppers on them. Champion of the wing, pizza, or taco eating contest. Taco? Spicy tacos. You can win it. That's going to be next Saturday in Asheville. Can't miss it. I'll post that, all that's make that happen. But I went to go to the trophies today, and I went to go to Schlotz and anyway, they wasn't there. These old guys, they were two old firemen, retired firemen that had this engraving shop on the south side of Columbus. That I took all my engraving there for years. I went there and it was like something else. I was like, what the hell? Like they were doing construction. They go open the door. I'm like, oh, this is not them at all. And I had like even his personal phone number was canceled. So I don't know if he retired or died or what. So I had to go and find a different place to order it. And then they're thinking of leaving. They're like, yeah, we're looking to sell it too, blah, blah, and retire. I'm like, well, don't. I was like, we're running out of trophy shops and engraving shops. So if anyone wants to start an engraving shop, I know a great one. She said, I talked to the lady and she said that they have more business than she knows what to do with. I said, really? She goes, yeah. She goes, I have all the corporate clients for, just kind of named off this list. I was like, all right, interesting. I don't think I have the money at the moment to purchase a trophy/engraving shop. And it sounds really, really effing boring. But I guess someone has to do it. I always thought you should have more, make it easier. I had glasses that I got in California a long, long time ago, decades ago. They were champagne glasses and they had bubbles and stars on them. And the dog broke one. My dog at the time had a big tail and smashed it on the patio. Of course, just like whacked it with the tail and went flying and it broke. And I wanted to get a replica of this because I love the glass. And it took me forever to find someone that could do glassware engraving that could make something specific. Not like, I can put a letter on. Like, I don't want a letter. I was like, I want this and this. Anyway, It took a minute to do that. And the guy I found, he did it out of his house, like in his bathtub. He would, do the stencils in the bathtub and had like a little sandblaster. He'd be like in his bathtub. I'm like, okay, interesting, because you can't over blast. It's stemware, so you have to really do a fine little etch or you'll break it. But anyway, I found it to be interesting. So yeah, I had to go look for a new shop today, and I went to 2 of them. Yeah, the first one was closed. Second one, I went there, and again, just the address I went by a couple times, and I got there, and I'm like, okay, is this like the right place? It had its website up, but it was definitely sketch. Like it was like, go around back, and gates locked, and I'm like, okay, and there's cameras everywhere. Like literally, like here's one. And I'm like, okay, like what am I walking into here? Needless to say, I did not use that place. So I drove to Grove City and found the engraving shop and ordered the large trophies, which were much more expensive than where I got them from my buddies over at the engraving shop on the South Side the past few years. I must admit, like substantially more expensive. 3 times at least more expensive. Because she goes, okay, here's the bill. I'm like, wow, okay. Good thing I'm going to make some money doing this event. Otherwise, yeah. I was like, that's a lot of money for trophies. Anyway, if you are so inclined that you want to try and eat the most spicy pizza, the most spicy tacos, or the most spicy wings, feel free to come and sign up. You can just go to Columbus Fiery Foods Festival. I think there's a sign-up list there. It's free, so it doesn't cost anything except, your internal soul from eating that hot stuff and destroying it. Which, again, I was looking at some of the videos today. I will post some of this. I'll edit some this week so you can see from the stuff for what's coming up. We aren't doing a pepper contest. That always freaked me out a little bit because, these things are just... again, I can't eat ketchup without sweating. Just Heinz ketchup, I can't eat it without sweating, for real. It's there's something in it. It's something like the capsaicin in ketchup. There's just a little bit or something. It makes me sweat, and I sweat from like the head up. So eating marinara sauce like spaghetti meatballs, I'm sweaty. So it's something. So I'm really honestly not good with hot foods. So I really can't eat them and don't. I'll do it. I enjoy like a wing that's mild. But that's honestly about my temperament, mild. Like a medium salsa, you're pushing it. You really are. So these peppers were just, they're ridiculous. Like so hot. I wore gloves when I was doing the stuff, like bringing the food out. Just the wings, they're like a tray of wings. This steam burned my eyes. It felt like I was being maced for real. It was so spicy, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, how do people eat this stuff and not wreck themselves? It must. This stuff must destroy your insides. There's no way it can't. Especially some of these peppers that they're eating, they're just brutal. Again, like I said, there's people that they tap out because they're throwing up. That's the honest. Like, okay, and all right, he's out because he's throwing up. That's how spicy this stuff is. So I don't know. If you're a spicy person, you can eat this stuff. More power to you because I'm just not. Just not me ever. It just can't do it. And no matter what the spice is, I just wasn't raised eating spicy foods. So I guess that's kind of the thing. My friend Seth can eat spicy stuff. And I remember a long time ago, we were somewhere on Bethel Road, and they had some really crazy hot sauce. Like, oh, you gotta be careful. That stuff's really, blah, 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 blah. Like volcano, eruption, King Kamehameha sauce or something ridiculous name for it. And a buddy was like, hey, I'll give you $1 to drink a shot. He was like, sure. Makes a 1 ounce shot of this stuff and takes it down. He went from normal color to bright red to bleach white in about 30 seconds and then threw up. like ran out the door throwing up. I was like, maybe you can't eat spicy after all. But it was an ounce. Like you're supposed to put like, 2 drops of this stuff for flavor on stuff. So yeah, not great. When he was raising his kid, he would give the kid hot stuff, in small portions to get the tolerance up as they got older. For real. I guess that's how you do it, right? I don't know. I didn't have that. I had like, spätzle and lentils and hot dogs. Basically boring German and Irish food, potatoes and things that of that nature that didn't have a whole lot of spice or flavor. Not muy caliente. No, not hot and spicy for me at all. Was not my thing. Just not there. So tomorrow is an early day. I'm going to, I think, like I said, I'll try and capture some of the stuff because it's a setup day. So there won't be anything too exciting. The streets will be closed. I'll have a golf cart and I will go around and set things up. I don't know what I have to set up. I think last year we set up like the bike rack and, put it in certain places and set up some tables and set the bars up. Because I'm in charge of 6 bars, and like 30 people. And that's all Friday. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There are 9 to 9 shifts and then 4 to 10 shifts or whatever. Where I have to, make sure that they're there. I have to assign them their booths. I got to assign them their T-shirts. Make sure they're doing their work. See if they need a break and switch workers around. Get them fed. The whole bit. It's kind of hurting cats. I guess a bunch of them know each other because they do this stuff together. They work. I don't want to say carnies, but close. Some of them come into town just for this event. Some of them with supervisors. Each one of the bars has a supervisor. They all come in for the event. They take like their vacation, a couple of days to vacation, and work it because they're friends with one of the people that runs the event for the city, I believe. And they're really cool. They're really great. But yes, a lot of the workers, the day laborers, yes, they work festivals and fairs and concerts and other things. So it's a very interesting group that you get to interact with, to say the very least. This is the group I interacted with last year for that fair I did, the state fair I did that was in the middle of nowhere. So it's very interesting, to say the very least. Where, again, I saw the demolition derby and said I must demolition derb. So I still have to try and get that figured out. There's got to be more. That one that's going to happen this week I can't do fast enough. There was no way for me to get my stuff together in a week's time to do it. After reading a little bit more, I definitely don't want to have the gas tank in the back, traditional. You have to put it in the back seat. And then they have special gas tanks that are, you have to like reroute the fuel line and everything because, the whole bursting into flames things. One fire and you're disqualified. I'm like, I don't want any fires. That's way too many. One fire seems like way too many. Like, I want the fire extinguisher strapped in next to me so I can be like, extinguish whatever flames are bursting out nearby. I don't really want that. So I'm wondering, if you're going to be, and that's the thing. I have to imagine that if you're doing a demolition derby, it's just for a short amount of time. The tank could be small, right? Couldn't it just be like a 1-gallon tank or like a 2-gallon tank? So it could be something rather small and secure and something that's not going to break. There's got to be something that they make exactly for that. I don't know, maybe like a plastic tank that's not going to rupture because it can handle some damage. Which, again, I don't think you're going to get damaged. If you get damaged in a demolition derby in a confined area only going a couple of miles an hour, because it's like bumper cars, just for big people. But if you get smashed that badly that it's going to rupture something in the middle of the back seat, you're going to be more hurt than that. So I definitely think that creates a problem in its own right. Um, but I'll have to look into that just because, again, must do things on the bucket list. Demolition Derby is ranking pretty high up there. So um, I'm going to go because I have to get up early. So I'm not going to drag this out much longer at all. It's already, close to midnight. And again, I will not fall asleep. So I'll have to go sit on the couch and fall asleep on the couch and then wake up on the couch and then get up. But my alarm will be set really early because I have to be there 8 o'clock. So I'm going to get up and, be roused by like 7. So I can, get showered and pack, which I'm going to do a little bit tonight because I have to take my day bag with me. I'm going to take a rain slicker in case it rains and take a hairbrush because I'm vain. Take some water and whatever else. So I have my little backpack phone charger so I can plug in and, whatever else I need to have so that I have all my stuff with me because I'll be abandoned without the ability to go do anything at this remote location in downtown. So that's the trials and tribulations. Woe is me. What can I say? I'm going to find this little button over here, and I did with my finger on it that says Fade to Black. Don't forget tomorrow. This, okay? That tomorrow. That's why I left it up. So the 7th episode, the first of 3 in Chicago, the last 3 episodes. This one I think is at Disco Pancakes. I think this is where breakfast was. I think it was Disco Pancakes. I don't remember where we went afterwards. Sorry, I don't remember it. It was kind of a blur. The whole thing was just, it was up early because Chicago was early too. I was up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. The call time was like 5 a.m. We had to drive and get to the thing, and again, get in the vehicle, which is such a pain in the ass. It definitely was early and not expected. So yeah, it's again, Chicago, day tripping. The final episodes are approaching, but I think there's some good. Hopefully, there's some good content. I think they started to finally figure out me a little bit by then because I know we had a lot. The second to last episode, I believe it should be. It was like me and Steven the whole episode because that's when we got called into corporate headquarters. Corporate headquarters wanted to talk to us, and again, I was like, okay. I was like, is this bad? This doesn't seem like a great thing. And maybe, I don't know, the Mr. Beef episode's in here. Maybe that's the lunch. Maybe that's the 8th episode or the 9th. I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't remember what order it was shot in. That's the thing, because it wasn't shot in the correct order. And that's the magic of TV. You can do things out of order. That's why I'm so confused, because I don't remember the order. Fair enough. Anyway, appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll look for you tomorrow night. Watch the episode, and we can discuss it afterwards. Until then, peace. Fade to black. Okay. Thanks for being here.